This video uses high-speed time-lapse videography and fast-changing scenes, which can affect some sensitive viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hey guys, so today we have this. It's a Toro Super Recycler. Comes equipped with the Briggs 5.5 horsepower Quantum. I have no idea what happened here. I found this mower because it was being scrapped at the side of the road. Decided, hey, I'll take this one home. Threw it into my car and brought it home. Unfortunately, I didn't notice how bad it actually really was. Honestly, it looks like it's been submerged in water. Look at all that aluminum corrosion, and the exhaust is rusted all over. All this dirt and debris certainly looks like it's definitely seen some moisture damage. I guess before we really crack into this, we should do an inspection and see how bad it really is, whether there's any point to really working on this engine, and if it really just needs a simple repower, perhaps to a Honda. So I guess first thing we should inspect the air filter. Let's pop this thing off. So you can use a flat, maybe, or 5/16. And this flat, it's pretty chewed up. So I'm gonna grab a 5/16 and take this off. You can also use an 8mm socket. Right, big reveal time. That looks like a bad sign. I don't think I've ever seen a filter this bad, and it's drenched. Oh boy, that's not a good sign. There's rust here. Primer bulb seems to work okay. Is it pumping fuel? Well, there isn't any, so no real way to know. As for the pull rope, it's jammed solid. Can't rotate the engine that way. So let's quickly prop it up and rotate it underneath. And you can see even more of this corrosion all over that head. Look at that spark plug. I'm thinking we should get a borescope and have a peek inside that cylinder before we really go much further. But let's turn this engine over and see if it makes any funny noises. And we should be able to see compression. We should be able to feel some kind of compression if there is any. So let's quickly prop this up. Yeah, that underside's not looking good. That is a lot of aluminum corrosion and oxidation, I guess is the proper word for it. Oh boy. Well, let's see what this engine sounds like. That's not good. Yeesh. Hit it a few times more, Mike. Well, that feels like compression there. I can hear it. Well, that's good. That doesn't sound good. Although I think that's more indicative of the pull rope stopping the engine from rotating than anything. Is there? Yeah, no problem. It does feel like compression. Of course, I could be wrong, but it certainly feels like we've got compression here. And it looks like, yeah, the crankshaft, it's not bent. Looks good to me. All right, I guess we should crack into it and see what's going on, but let me get that borescope. We'll have a peek inside that cylinder. All right, let's get this spark plug off. I'm not gonna mess around, just use the impact. Looks like it's welded in there. Oh, that came out really easy. Okay, so I'm going to bring the piston up top dead center just to see if it's moving. Up, I see it. And we'll go back down. Perfect. Okay, so let's get that camera in there. There we go. And we'll see how the cylinder walls are. There's the piston. Lots of carbon. The cylinder walls. See if we can see them. There they are. Seeing some vertical scoring. A little bit of it. How bad? No idea. Reflecting, so I can't really see there. Yeah, that's as bright as the camera gets. But I'm not. Yeah, you see the vertical scoring there, but it's not. Oh, that one looks pretty bad. But aside from that, I can't say it's terrible. Definitely seen worse. I'm not sure what that is. Actually, that looks really bad. That looks really bad. I guess we should get that top off and turn it over by hand and then do a compression test. Yeah, this mower is looking worse and worse the longer we look at it. Okay, so let's see. Let's get this top off. We need a couple Phillips. So we're going to shroud off. Okay, 5/16 times 3. Pull rope off. Or I should say we get the cover off, the gas tank. Oh, right. This one, 3/8. Get 3/8 off. There we go, 3/8. And there's a spacer in behind. Almost lost the socket. Get that spacer. Corrosion even in the threads. You can grab pliers and we'll release this and get the gas tank right off. Thinking this one's busted. There we go. Gas tank's free. I know, not the best tool for it, but it worked. 2 more 3/8 at the back here. Another 2 3/8 right here. Can I get to that one? Oh, I guess there is only that one. Okay. We got 5/16 there and there. Let's get this one off. Let's move the cable first. That's the throttle cable. Look at this guy out. And now the oil tube. Should come off. Hey, look at that, guys. Look what I found. A red subscribe button. If you made it this far into the video, hit that subscribe button. Don't forget, give it a thumbs up. Comment below. I love to read your comments, and I try to reply to as many of them as I can, especially the early ones. All right, guys, back to the video. There we go. Oil tube's off. Twist it out of the way. Now, there's the other 3/8. It was hiding. That's why it won't come off. You gotta get all the bolts out first, Mike. Now get the top off. Maybe. There we go. Fuel tank, I think. Lots of crap under there. So that's the rubbing sound, is the coil. Makes me wonder if the coil worked. Look at all that crap in there. Well, before we get anything inside the cylinder, some stuff has gotten there. Okay, so I just got to blow off the top, but we got to plug it in first. There. Loud noises. Now we'll get the spark plug back in. Just to protect from any other debris going inside. There. I wonder if this thing was underwater or if it just spent a lot of time outdoors and got completely drenched. Because I didn't see any water in the oil. Take the oil dipstick out. Other than, of course, it's being on its back, so it's high up, but that's oil. It's not mixed, so you don't got that forbidden milkshake color. So that's not bad. It's got compression, definitely has compression, you can see that. So I wonder if we have spark. It's a really good question. Do we have spark? 1/4 inch, right? Yeah, 1/4 inch. So hopefully this doesn't break. Let's see. Oh, wow. I was expecting them to be worse than that. There. Okay, we're going to move it back. Then we're going to reset the coil gap. So we'll grab the most trusted tool for setting the coil gap, and that's a business card. There. And it's no longer rubbing. Perfect. So we should be able to at least test this thing for compression. So let me grab my compression tester and a way to spin that over. This thing, she's frozen solid, so I don't think I'm going to be able to do much with that. Yeah, let me grab a drill, grab a socket, grab my compression tester. We'll be right back. We'll try for compression. See you shortly. Right, might as well lower it down. spark plug off. Drop it. It's always this one. That's why it's dirty and the other ones aren't. There we go. Oh, that's interesting. Turn that off. There we go. Right, so now let's also, hopefully it'll work, check for spark. Worst case scenario, we need a new coil, but we can also check for spark while we're at it. I had another housing. We've gone over this housing before in the Rally mower. Was it the Rally? I can't remember. Maybe it's not the Rally, but it was a different mower, Craftsman. It was a Craftsman. Anyway, I changed the rope on this. The original, it's completely frozen. I can't budge that at all. Sun's getting a bit low in the sky. There. So this obviously can't lick over, but I'm going to try spinning it slowly to see. We should get around 60. And I did notice there's a bunch of oil inside the cylinder, so I know it is lubricated at least. Let's spin it over slowly, hopefully. So much for slowly, right? I don't think I'm seeing spark though. I don't think I'm seeing spark. I know why I'm not seeing spark. The bale's not depressed. Stupid bale! You're bad! Now it's depressed. Now let's see if it's got spark. Oh, look at that! Look at that spark! Spark, baby, spark! Seems a little weak. I wonder why. Not bad pressure. Let's try that again. Yeah, so we got good spark. And we got good compression. Ha ha ha. That's good news. Now let's just make 100% sure on that spark, just so you guys can definitely see it. Right, so one more time. I know it's not the greatest spark, but I wonder if it's more to do with the spark plug being so corroded and not so much the coil. But I do have another coil, so let's try that one more time. So lots of spark. So there's no reason this mower shouldn't run. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put the plug back in, I'm gonna squirt some fuel into the cylinder and see if it'll lick over. So let's do that. So we'll squirt in some two-stroke. Couple shots of two-stroke. Put this crappy plug in. I do have other ones I can put in. So if this one doesn't have enough oomph for spark, and try another one. I just can't get it in the hole. Good. Okay. Here goes. Oh, that's a good sign. Let's give it a little bit more. One more time, shall we? One more time. This is fun. wonder if I can be fast enough to feed it a little bit of fuel here and there. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That engine sounds fantastic. Yeah, there's no reason why this thing won't run. It's in great condition. Huh. Awesome compression. And she runs just fine. Give it fuel, she goes. Sparks great. Hey, why not? All right, guys. I'm going to wrap it up for now just because it's a little late. Yeah, as you can see, it's like getting close to 7 o'clock. And I got to get ready to take my kid out to the skating rink because he's going out with a friend to go do some ice skating. Not bad at all. It's amazing what just learning a little bit about these machines, how they work, and how easily you can actually get them running. This is going to be a decent little machine, although I think I should get my wire brush and try to get a bunch of that oxidization off, but at the same time, I kind of like the nice little patina it's got. Decisions. Either way, this guy works. So it should go on just fine. Yep, that's going to go on just fine. Perfect. But I'm going to pull it back off because I want to give this a cleaning. But look, no problem. No problem at all. Good stuff. I'm going to pop this off and we're going to wrap it up for today. But tomorrow we're going to hit this with the pressure washer, get it nice and cleaned up, and then get it all together. Try it with fuel. I'm gonna bottle seal it first, just to make sure. And we'll see. Maybe I don't even need to run through the carb at all. Maybe everything's good with this. I just slap a new air filter on, change the oil, and she's good to go. We shall see. Oh, but one thing's for certain. These wheels, the wheels are pretty bad. The wheels are pretty bad. I sprayed them, but they don't turn. I'm gonna have to pull them off and clean up the spindles and axles or whatever, clean up the inside of the wheels, and hopefully get them rolling again. As for the adjusters, I don't know if I'm gonna get those freed up. No idea, not without really pulling this thing apart. And it's not something I'm really looking forward to doing, but if I have to, I have to. And I mean, it is a Toro, so it's not like it's not worth it. Now the funny thing is, I have a second deck. I have another Toro deck just sitting in my garage over there. I've also got a Honda engine for it, so that might be something for later. I don't know if I'm going to do that this year. I'm probably going to wait until the new year before I really crack down on that one, especially since now we're going into the winter season, and lawnmowers, well, 2 strokes is the big one during the winter season, like chainsaws and the odd snowblower here and there, but for the most part, lawnmowers, yeah, not really good for the winter season at all, except maybe in the southern hemisphere, like maybe in Australia. All right, guys, I'll see you soon. There, I gave it a quick wash. And yeah, I know, I said I wasn't going to clean off the patina. I was going to leave it. But I figured since I was cleaning it, I might as well flake off as much of that corrosion as I could. And a whole lot of it came off, leaving the black paint that was there below. Also scraped off the rust from the flywheel, both sides of it. Cleaned off a bunch off the coil, although you'd never know it. As for the intake, well, I hope there's no problems because those are never coming out. The underside came out pretty good. And guess what? The wheels? Look at this. Not all of them came out that good. But it's definitely coming back to life. Way easier to push. I mean, all the wheels move now. Yes, some more than others. I gotta work on that still. I haven't pulled them apart yet. Although this one moves pretty easily. So at least that one doesn't have to come apart. I haven't checked the rear wheels, but they are moving fairly well. I should say the whole mower now is moving fairly well. Maybe I should name this one, "This Toro is stiff." Yeah, maybe that's what I should call it. "This Toro is stiff." Or "The Stiff Toro." What's keeping this Toro from recycling? Yeah, that one might work. Or I guess the third one, I don't know. "Let's recycle this Toro." Yeah, that's a funny one. Anyway, I'm just gonna let it dry and then we'll get back to it. Get this all back together, warm up that oil and change it. I'm gonna see if I've got a better spark plug. Well, I know I have a better spark plug. So I'll put in a newer spark plug. And if that coil is, I don't know, that coil seems to be fine. I have a feeling it was just a spark plug where the spark was a little weak. I'm not sure where my gap tester is. I'd like to find it and try it, because I prefer that over the fluorescent orange one, because the fluorescent orange one, it can show a weak spark, but it's the one where you can adjust the gap, and if the spark jumps the gap, then great, perfect. That's what you want, because that will definitely mean that there's nice hot spark. Anyway guys, I'm gonna let this dry for a couple hours and then we'll get back out to it, get the oil nice and warmed up and change it. I think I'm gonna use the drain plug underneath. Believe it or not, this one has a drain plug underneath. So not all of them do, but some do, some don't. A lot of the old ones do. New ones, not so much. They got rid of that. All right, see you soon guys. Right, so I plan on basically bottle feeding this. So I'm gonna try filling up the carb just using, oops, it's dripping all over me. Okay, anyway, so it's, still accepting fuel. Hopefully it doesn't leak over. I'm going to start it with the drill first, because then if it doesn't start with the drill, then we know that I've got to go through the carb. Okay, so it seems to have stopped accepting fuel. So that's still slowly going down, I think. Let's add a little bit more. Though I think it is slowing down. Yeah, definitely slowing down. We don't seem to be leaking over, so that's a good sign. That would mean that the needle and seat is working. Let's see. Is the primer working? I don't see the primer working. Yeah, I don't see fuel coming up at all. Should be fuel coming up the emulsion tube if the primer was working, but it doesn't seem to be. That's fine. We'll give it its own prime. Then we'll grab the drill and we'll see if this thing continues to run. Because if it continues to run, if the primer's not working, then likely that means that the gasket is a little bit warped. So let's see. Will she start? It started, but it didn't continue to run. Let's see. Try it again. Try it one more time. Yeah, carburetor is definitely not working. So that's why I didn't want to put the all back together, tank and all, because I want to make sure that it's working first. And well, obviously it's not working. So let's get that carburetor off and go from there. So 5/16 will take off the air filter. Yeah, this can stay on there for now. Actually, no, it can't. So air filter will take off. What else is it stuck to? Oh, there's one more right here. Missed that one. There we go. Breather tube came off. Put those 3 in there, and we have 2 3/8 holding on the carburetor. Well, let's pop open the bowl anyway, which is a 1/2 inch, but let's get the carburetor off. So 3/8. And we get the carburetor. Here we go. This is likely the culprit as to why she's not working. So keep you up for a second or two. Pour the excess back in. There we go. Let's pop this open. 1/2 inch. Gonna be a bit of fuel that leaks out. Ooh. Nasty. Yep. That's why it wouldn't run. That's terrible. Definitely some sandy gunk in there. Okay. And that thing, oh, it's just dirt and debris. Okay, so let's get this thing apart. You go in there. You go in there, and you go in there. All right, I'll get this in the ultrasonic, clean it all out, and hopefully when we pop it back on the mower, everything's good to go. All right, guys, I'll see you soon. Well, unfortunately, like usual, the gasket broke. So, other than that, the carburetor came out pretty clean, but yeah, the air filter gasket broke. So I've ordered a bunch of them. Instead of making one up via cereal boxes, I decided, forget it, I'm just going to order a bunch. The bowl, other than stained inside, it came out pretty good. I'm just going to have to brush it all out of all that gunk that's in there that's coming off with my fingernail and get it all cleaned up so that doesn't end up in the main jet again. Cleaned off the main jet, brushed it out, poked the holes out, and now it's actually pretty clean. I was able to blast it with some carb spray, and yeah, it shot out all nicely all over the place. The other thing I did was I changed the needle seat because I noticed that the float was sticking up. As for the part number for the needle seat, there it is. And get out of here. Don't need you no more. So yeah, guys, just gotta wait a couple days for the parts to come in, the gasket, and then we can get this back on the mower and hopefully see if it works. Hopefully I don't have to order a new carb. We'll see. I hope not. I do have some other carburetors off of some Briggs Quantums, so maybe I'll try one of those ones and go from there if this one doesn't work. But hopefully this one works. All right, as soon as the gaskets come in, we'll get this installed. 3, 2, 1. Okay, so I've got the carb on, and this is the second time I've done this. The first time I did, I wanted to make sure that whether it was going to run or not, or I was going to have to go through the carb again. And I made one mistake, and that mistake was using this old piece of fuel line, because I had cleaned this out completely, and then I found sediment in the bottom, and all I had done was I used this exact same fuel line. So the only place it could have come from is this. So I put some new fuel line on. Now I'm going to have to go a size up. Alright, let's try one of these. That's a lot better. So I don't have the air filter gasket yet. They haven't arrived, but they should be here at some point today. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to prime this with a little bit of fuel, and I guess I'll just tie this up here. That way it can feed itself some fuel through the fuel line, and then I can, of course, just spray a bit and prime it that way. Then we can see if the carburetor works or not. Because once the bowl's full, it should run for a bit on its own if everything's good. And I really did clean it out as best as I could. I used my picks to clean out the main jet and everything. But I just want to tie this down quickly, and then we'll try it. That's better. Clean out the threads. That's the throttle. I'm not too worried about attaching that thing right now. I just don't want that rattling out. But throttle wise, I can control it here. We'll fill up the fuel line. You know that should be plenty of fuel. So let's give it a prime. And we'll pull it over. Hopefully it starts right up. that. I would say it started up and ran just fine. Okay, so check carburetor. Next, we got to get that air filter back on. But in the meantime, might as well get the shroud on and the fuel tank. I mean, it's already proven itself. After that, then we'll get the oil changed. All right, so let's start getting this thing back together. Not as easy when not being able to use your dominant hand. Oh, I have to put the lamp on first. I heard you, I heard you. There we go. Now we can get the shroud on. I gave it a little bit of a spray finish. I think it looks pretty good. Comment below, what do you think? Did I do a good job? I just sprayed it with clear coat. That's about it. Did I just see fuel dripping? I don't know if I just saw fuel dripping. Right, carry on. Totally missed. No, it doesn't seem to be wet. So I don't think there was fuel dripping, but I guess we'll find out later when I fill the tank up. Because if it starts coming out of the carb and it starts dripping, then I'll know, yeah, fuel is definitely dripping. But no point in doing that now. We gotta wait for the air filter to come. Or not the air filter, but the air filter gaskets to come. But once they arrive, we can get out here, get that on, and get this thing going. For the time being, I'm gonna pull the blade off and get that sharpened. Right, so this should be 5/8. Let's see. Is it 5/8? It needs to be higher. There we go. That should be higher. It's 5/8. Good. Well, that's unfortunate. All right, let's try that again. Round 2. There we go. It's just those. Oops. Try that again. Let's give those threads a bit of a spray out. Oops. Let's do that again. Take 3. Will this come off? Yeah, it can stay. It can stay. Alright. The blade's not terrible. So it's definitely usable. Okay, I'll get this all sharpened up. I don't see any reason to suspect that this has impacted anything because there's no gouges or nicks or anything. It just looks like it was forgotten about for a while. Cool. That's good news. Alright, see you shortly. Okay, so let's get this blade on. And I just got to pop this cover again, so... do I? Yeah, I do. So that I can reattach this. I have to pop the cover. Alright, so let's get the cover off. But first, let's get the blade on. I just gave it a coating of whatever paint I had. The other side I primed, just to help protect it. I cleaned off the surface of the rust. So that way it's at least a bit protected and should maybe last a bit longer, but I mean if they hit something, well, they buy the next owners, whoever buys this. Yeah, let me know what would you guys sell like something like this for? Give me an idea, because likely I'm not going to be listing it this year, probably listing it next year for sale, because well, it's so late in the season. Why would I list that now? And I mean, it's kind of just going to sit here. So no, but not a big deal. It doesn't take up any room, and it didn't cost me anything other than a little bit of work, but that made a video for you guys. So let's lift this up. Now, what are you guys doing down there? Hope you guys are okay. You don't have a headache from that? You're okay? Okay, good. Right. We'll get the blade on. There we go. Now I can set it and forget it. Whee! There. Come on now. I know. I could just move the stand back a bit, but there. Now it's in. There. Nice. That's what, the second one? Awesome. Well, at least we know that it's torqued on there then, because you just snapped it. Two you've taken. Right. The blade's on. So we'll get this out of the way. Now let's pop the top. Still haven't done an oil change on this. I do know that it's definitely earned said oil change, but we haven't done it yet. There. It's been well pinched there. Oops. Dropped it. We'll try that again. That's the wrong bolt. It's supposed to be this one. Ay. Okay. Excuse me, cable. That was annoying. What an enemy. Look at him. Look at that guy. Here he goes. Okay, so that won't actuate until I move the handle. Okay, let's get the cover back on. I'm gonna get in the hole. Right, so let's get the carb on. Let's get the air filter on. There's the new gaskets for it. Part number. Okay, see you later. These will be linked down below in my Amazon affiliates link. Not sure if you want this many. I'll link, but I will link this many down there. I mean, not sure how many of you guys are repairing yourself or repairing for others, or just repairing your own. If you're just repairing your own, you may not want so many, so I'll link a singular item and I'll link the multi-pack. The multi-pack really wasn't that expensive at all. There, perfect. To help prevent it from warping. There. Much better. And now I know the moment you've all been waiting for. There, now it should be ready to go. Right, so I guess next thing would be we'll add some fuel, we'll prime it, and we'll get it started. Oh, let's put that on. There we go. Okay guys, let's get it started.
Running, and running. Let's get it started! Ha!
Saw fuel drip when I primed that one. Interesting. I just put a bale override. Is this that one drip? Oops. Smart job. Let's try that again. Huh, she won't start. Can't pull it left-handed from all the way up the handle. I wonder if it was priming. So let's see, was it priming? I don't see it priming, so that would be the problem. Probably I'll need a second gasket. But let's try priming it with some gasoline. Now I should be able to start it. There we go. Perfect. Smoke seems to be just coming from the exhaust, but a little oil would have made it in there, I guess. So since we're here at it, let's do an oil change. Okay, so here's the tray. No need to do it with the suction. This is nice and warm, so it should drain nice and easy. So now we're going to add 500 milliliters or 18 US ounces of the good stuff, 10W30. I flicked it and it went right back in. Ay, 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 ay. Hilarious. Made a little bit of a mess. My bad. I guess that's not gasoline resistant paint. Oh no. We are full. Right, so let's add a second gasket. Unfortunately, that's what happens sometimes. You need to double gasket it because they get slightly warped. Not saying it'll work. Sometimes this is what you got to do. Not the best design that Briggs & Stratton has made. And it seems to be leaking fuel out the bowl. Ah, lovely. I know why it's leaking fuel out the bowl too, because of the gasket. That's fine. I'll change that after. Might as well do that off camera. No need to change that on camera. It's just the wafer gasket on the bottom. I'll have to pull one off of a different carburetor. There, let's see. Yep, it's squirting fuel up. That's all it was. Perfect. Should start now, all on its own. If provided I can start it. So let's there. Perfect. Right, so I'm gonna stop this for now. I gotta take my phones inside to cool off because they're complaining they're overheating. That's fair, it is fairly warm today. Even though it's like the end of September. Although the iPhone's going fine. Look, I've been recording for 42 minutes now. I wonder how long this section's gonna be. Pretty crazy someone threw that away. I mean, it really is. Right, so it seems to be running just fine. Anyway. The shot. Yeah, it is. Much better. Okay, so the phones have cooled off, so now we can actually do a little bit of recording. We can see how it cuts the grass. Let's see how these things work. First, I think this is the first Toro Super Recycler on the channel. Oh yeah, may have been leaking fuel this entire time. No, maybe not. Still lots of gas in there. Okay, so let's see how it goes. Perfect. All right, let's cut some grass. So from the literal scrapper to probably one of the best cuts I've seen my lawn get. And this thing, man, was it smooth. Unbelievably smooth. Very impressed by this little mower. You know, you'd have expected this sort of performance out of a Honda for how smooth this was and how quiet it was, but now here we got a good old Briggs Quantum. Just beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I think that magnesium deck, it is heavy. It is absolutely heavy, but there's almost no vibration, and it's very quiet. That is a very, very quiet mower. Really happy how this one came out. All right, guys. See you in the next one. So yeah, this one just had been thrown out right to the side. Nobody wanted it. Couldn't believe it. Of all the mowers, the Super Recycler just sitting there. And looking at it, honestly, I didn't give it much hope. This poor thing, it honestly looked like it had lived underwater, like it had been found in the bottom of a pond. Now, of course, I'm not meaning a large, like, natural pond, maybe like an artificial pond in someone's backyard. It had fallen in one in the winter and just stayed there and just got completely drenched. But no, looks like after all it was just left outside to the elements. Carb cleaned right up quite nice. Deck cleaned up pretty good. Added some paint. Yeah, okay, it's not gasoline safe, but it did make the top look really shiny, and it still does look really good. So yeah, not bad at all. Oh, and yeah, I did put in a Briggs version of the Champion RJ19 LM, but for all intents and purposes, it's basically just an RJ19 LM, and it says Briggs and Stratton on it. Well, it's got their logo, but pretty good. Came out awesome. All right, guys, spark plug off for safety.
How dare you!